Hi, students. Today we're going to learn about the prose fifth unit, Convocation Address by Dr. Arinyar Annadurai. Okay, it was written by Dr. Arinyar Annadurai. Convocation Address, the title itself. And he was addressing the graduates of a university, and it is on their convocation. So, the title of the lesson is Convocation Address by Dr. Arinyar Annadurai. So, let's see something about the author. Dr. Kanchivaram Natarajan Annadurai, his lifetime, his date of birth and date of death, 15th September 1909 to 3rd February 1969. He was popularly called Arinyar Anna. He was an Indian politician who served as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu during the year 1967 to 1969. So he was called Arinyar Anna very popularly. Everyone knows as Arinyar Anna, and he has been a very successful politician, and he served as the chief minister of Tamil Nadu during the year 1967 to 69. He was a great orator and an acclaimed writer in Tamil. So he was not only an orator, a speaker, a great speaker, also he was an acclaimed writer, very well known writer, but not in English but in Tamil. Jawaharlal Nehru hailed him as one of the greatest parliamentarians. So even Jawaharlal Nehru praised him, praised Arinyar Anna as one of the greatest parliamentarians. Few people were great in the parliament, and Dr. Arinyar Anna was one among them. That was the statement given by Dr. Jawaharlal Nehru. He has published several novels, short stories, and plays which incorporate political and social themes. So he has written novels, short stories, and plays, and whatever it is, those novels, stories, and plays, they have something as their themes. What is that? Based on politics and social issues. Political and social themes, whether it is of novel, short story, or plays. C.N. Annadurai was awarded the Chubb Fellowship at Yale University. So he was awarded the Chubb Fellowship at Yale University. And what is something special about this award? He was the first non American to receive this honor. Usually, this award was awarded only to Americans, and he was the first non American to receive this honor. The same year, he was awarded an honorary doctorate from Annamalai University. So, Annamalai University, the same year, he was awarded an honorary doctorate from Annamalai University. So, the Annamalai University honored Dr. Arinyar Anna um, the honorary doctorate. Okay, that's why it was called as Dr. Arinyar Anna. Okay, let's go through the meanings given at the back of at the end of the lesson. Comfort. What is the meaning of conferred? Granted a title, degree, benefit, or right. So, Annamalai University conferred or granted a title means giving a title. Reiterate is something said again, say again, or do again. Enunciated means spoke clearly. Ruggedness is the strength or toughness. Repositories. Here in this lesson, it comes as repositories of knowledge. That means storehouse of knowledge. Emissaries means deputies, meaning a representative or a substitute. Eschewed, to avoid, to shun, or have nothing to do with. Autocracy means government by one ruler. Auto means one. Mono, auto, government by one ruler or an individual. What is feudal? Feudal having to do with the Middle Ages. Old, not very ancient, not so modern. It has to do something with Middle Ages. Confronting, aggressively resisting. Secluded spheres, isolated areas. Cloistered, restricted. Perseverance, continued effort or steadfastness, not giving up, continuously trying. Inherent, it's a natural thing or inborn quality. Perils, perils, dangers, or risks. Indebted means obliged to repay. It's a duty to repay. Tillers, persons who produce crops, or persons who raise animals, or persons who cultivate. Toilers, toilers means workers or people who perform hard physical labor, hard workers. Replenish means refill. Despondent means a person who is depressed or frustrated. Sermons, speeches on moral subjects. Endowed is gifted. Crusade is a campaign for a cause. What cause? A good cause. Inheritors, the followers or successors. Luster is a glow of luster is a glow of reflected light. Okay, so just keep these meanings for the word so that we can understand the lesson better. Okay, let's move on to the address, the convocation address of Dr. Arinyar Anna. Thankful as I am for the unique honor conferred on me by this institution, I stand before this august assembly today to deliver the convocation address. For though it is a pleasure to be present on the happy occasion of greeting the graduates of the year and wishing them all a bright and prosperous future, it is not an easy task to place appropriate guidelines before them. So here he starts the address like this. He feels that he was very thankful for the honor that was given to him by the institution, that is the Annamalai University, because they awarded him the honorary doctorate, Dr. Arinyar Anna, that was conferred by the Annamalai University. So he says, I stand before this learned assembly that day for what? To deliver the address, convocation address for the graduates. And he says, it is a pleasure to be present on the happy occasion of greeting the graduates of the year. It is always a pleasure to be present during such occasions to greet the graduates, wishing them a bright and prosperous future. But at the same time, he acknowledges and says that it is not an easy task to place guidelines before them. Giving guidelines is easy, but to place appropriate guidelines before them, that is very difficult. That's what he admits. All the student community should be given a proper guidelines or an appropriate guidelines. That is not an easy task. See the simplicity and humility of such a great personality. He starts with humble words. That is why these people are great. This is the age of the common man. Whatever the regrets some might have, and it is his point of view that matters most, and I do claim to represent him in all his ruggedness. So, those days, many rich people and highly intellectual people and people from rich background used to be taking the leadership. But Dr. Annadurai, Dr. Arinyar Anna, he was a common man, came to such a high position, and he submits or he says, this is the age of common man. So he is there, stands as a representative of a common man, is standing there as a representative of a common man. And whatever the regrets some might have, and because of that, some might have some regrets. They might feel sorry for the common person. But he says, and it is his point of view that matters most. But whose point of view that matters the most? The common man's point of view matters the most. And he says, I do claim to represent him in all his ruggedness. So I'm standing as as a representative of a very common person, not a high class people or rich people or wealthy people. I stand here as a representative of a common man. See the humble beginning, and see the responsibility that he takes. He stands for a common man. He stands as a representative of a common man. And here in the next few lines, he says, systems and schools of thought, whether it is in philosophy or politics, ethics or economics, are certainly meant for him. Universities as the repositories of knowledge and the nursing ground for the emissaries of thought, wisdom, and service have got a prominent role. So let's see systems and schools of thought, whether it is in philosophy. Every field has a system and a school of thought. He says whether it is philosophy or politics or ethics or economics, in any field of education or any field, that particular system and school of thought is certainly meant for the common person. And he says universities as the repositories of knowledge and the nursing ground for the emissaries of thought. So he's telling that universities, the role of universities, universities as the repositories of knowledge, storehouse of knowledge. Many Students come there and they go out as as knowledgeable persons, knowledgeable students, knowledgeable citizens. Why? Because these universities are the houses of knowledge and the nursing ground for the emissaries of thought, deputies of thought, representatives of thought, wisdom, and service. See, that is the place of knowledge, storehouse of knowledge, and also that is the nursing ground for such graduates for their thought, wisdom, and service. These universities have got a prominent role to play. So, how to develop great citizens of India and which particular uh, field plays an important role is talking about the role of universities in creating such great individuals or citizens. So universities is considering as the storehouses of knowledge. Not only storehouses of knowledge, students do not get only the knowledge, also the nursing ground. That is where students are developed, created, molded as great citizens. That is why he says the universities has a great role to play and the prominence is growing every day. So, universities' responsibility is growing every day as more and more individuals get themselves equipped for the task of bettering society in all its age when we have eschewed monarchy and autocracy and have inaugurated the era of democracy. So the role of university is very prominent, and that prominent role, the responsibility is growing every day as every individual, as every student who steps into the institution or university, they are getting equipped for the task. What is the task of every student, every citizen? Of bettering society in all its age. You know, when we have nothing to do with monarchy means ruled by an individual, or autocracy ruled by an individual. All those things have nothing to do with right now. You know, it has been inaugurated in the era of democracy. So leaving out or avoiding monarchy and autocracy, now we are in the year of, or in the period of democracy. No more autocracy. It is the era or the period of democracy. So, in such a time, university has a great role in equipping every student for a great task of creating a better society. So, even today, my dear students, you are in the higher secondary schools and you are also expected to equip yourself, and the schools, not only the university, the schools also have the task of creating or equipping yourself for the betterment of the society. Okay, during the monarchical or feudal days, universities had to train scholars and poets to adorn the chambers of royalty or the gilded mansions of lords and nobles, and their wisdom was meant for the mansion, not for the marketplace. Those were days when numbers did not count, nor were eminent scholars asked to face the problems confronting the masses. They were content to work in secluded spheres, far from the din and noise of the common man, and weave the costly fabric of philosophy of poetry, which in turn was to be converted into dazzling garments for the select and the privileged. And the privileged. Students, in this paragraph, you must understand that during the monarchical or feudal days, what was the role of a university? and what is the role of the university today. Okay, here in this paragraph they say what was the role in those days when it was ruled by kings or lords or nobles. Then what was the role of a university? So during the monarchical or feudal days, university had to train scholars and poets to adorn the chambers of royalty or the decorated and gilded mansions of lords and nobles, and their wisdom was meant for the mansion, not for the marketplace. So those days, universities, they were supposed to train scholars and poets. What for? To adorn, to praise the chambers of royalty or the mansions of lords and nobles. So these people, these learned people, these scholars, these poets were sent only to the chambers of the royal people or to the mansions of lords and nobles. And these wise people's wisdom was meant only for the mansions, for the palace, not for the marketplace. Here, not for the marketplace means their intelligence were not used for the common man. So, university's role in those days was to train the scholars and poets, and their intelligence were used only for the people in the palace and in the mansions, not for the common man. And those were days when numbers did not count, nor were eminent scholars asked to face the problems confronting the masses. So these learned people, eminent scholars, they did not face the problems of the common person. No, they just went to the palace and they just deal the issues of the palace, and they were doing things only in the palace and mansions, and they were confronted. They did not confront the issues or the problems of a common man. In such a way only they were trained. Universities trained such scholars and poets. They were content to work in secluded spheres far from the din and noise of the common man and weave the costly fabric of philosophy or poetry, which in turn was to be converted into dazzling garments for the select and the privileged. See here, these learned people, they were limited to work. They were not allowed to work. They were not trained to work. They were not motivated to work for the common man. So they were working only in secluded spheres where there in the palaces and mansions. So they were far away from the cry of the common man. They did not know the problem. They did not know the issue of the problem man. And they were weaving the costly fabric of philosophy of poetry. So they were writing poetry. They were praising the kings and the lords, and all their intelligence, knowledge, wisdom were used only for the people in the palace and mansions. So that is how universities were molding such people. Universities molded students to work, or scholars or poets to work only in the palace and mansions. So that was the responsibility those days for of a university. Okay, but role of the university today, that was in those days, but this the role of the university today is not cloistered and confined as in the past. You know the meaning of cloistered, no? Cloistered means restricted, but now university is not playing such a role. They are training the students, they are equipping the students, not as in the past. So in what way it has become different? Its function has been enlarged, not only in fundamentals but also in its domain. It was not restricted for only for the palace people, not only for the lords and nobles. It has to take into account the commonness but trim and train, guide and lead him before being asked to do his duty as the citizen of a democracy. So now the domain has been enlarged, not only restricted for the king's palace or mansions. It has enlarged and moved so that it would reach the issue or train even the common man. How, how to make him fit or how to make him prepared for the challenges in the democratic world. What has to be done? A university has to trim and train, guide and lead before being asked to do his duty as the citizen of a democracy. So, this is the task which kindles sweet hopes but which demands patience and perseverance, faith and confidence, faith in himself and in others, and confident in his inherent ability to shoulder the responsibility. So, is it easy? Is it easy to develop a common person for the task, for the challenging task? No, it's not easy. And that's why he says it is a task which kindles sweet hopes. Yes, if university train common man, that means students uh, according or in a way to face the challenges of the common man, that gives sweet hopes, but that requires or demands patience and perseverance. It needs a lot of patience, continuous efforts, faith and confidence, faith in himself. That means a student should have faith in himself and also in others, and faith in his ability, inborn ability, natural ability. What for? To shoulder the responsibility. The common man has become the origin of a potential ruler, and the duty today, the responsibility today of the universities is to fashion out of him an individual fitted and equipped for the task of making democracy how fruitful and effective. So the common man has become the origin of a potential ruler. So a common man can become a potential ruler. A common man, even a common man can become a ruler. And the duty today, the responsibility today of a university, what is that? It has to take that common person, a simple person, a humble student, to fashion out of him, to make out of him an individual. The university's role is to equip a normal person and make him fit and equipped for a great task of making our democratic country a fruitful and effective one. So that is the duty and the responsibility of a university today. So those days they were trained to work in the palaces and mansions, but now universities' responsibility and their domain has been enlarged to reach out the common man, to pick out the common one, to pick out the common student, simple person, and to fashion out and to make him understand the ability that he has, the natural ability, the inherent, the inborn ability. With that, he can be prepared to make our democratic country a fruitful one and an effective one. So we'll continue in the second part, the rest of the lesson. Thank you.